Good evening and welcome to the monthly meeting of the Terrell County Board of Education at our August 6th meeting this month. At this time, we are going to observe a moment of silence. Thank you. At this time, we'll also stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Dr. Rosberg, is there a reason to record the agenda? There's no reason to reorder the agenda. Okay. Next up, we have our public forum. Please remember that the purpose of the public forum is to afford the public an opportunity to address the board in 3 minutes on matters related to policy or general concern. The board will listen and may ask questions to try to understand the matter being presented. As a general rule, the board delays discussion and/or decision until a later time. Since this is the only time on the agenda that the audience may participate in the board's meeting, if any person wishes to address the board, she or he should make it known at this time. And please remember that no person addressing the board may refer to a student or employee by name, as they are protected by law from such and may only be discussed in closed session as governed by board policy and commonly recognized practice. Is there anyone who would like, I don't see any names on the sign-in sheet, but is there anyone who would like to address the board this evening? Okay, hearing none, thank you all. We'll move on to our next, which is special recognition. And Dr. Rice will be here. It's okay if you don't. I'll go see them. Okay. Okay. Sounds good. This time we are going to have a special presentation by our TCS teacher leaders who attended the summer AC CAT program, which is the Teacher Leadership Institute. So I'll have them all come up and introduce themselves.
Okay, so we got to attend NCAT this summer for a week on Evercoat. And so I'm Jennifer Brickhouse, math, high school.
I'm Amy Lillian, the TSS coordinator for the elementary school. Halsey.
My name is Rebecca Swain, and I'm the curriculum specialist at Level.
Anna Corbin, high school math teacher.
Lisa Gaps, tonsillitis. This is my second year on antibiotics. I work at the Media Center, that's high school, and I teach 8th grade.
All right, so we were all really excited to come back and share what we learned with you and some of the takeaways that we had. And so we really learned how to advocate for our school system and our school. And we learned a lot. We learned a lot about where our budget, how our budget is spent, where our budget comes from, and took a look at our county budget and things like that as well. But we're going to get into what we really are here for. So we decided that we felt like part of our issue right now is the perception of our school, and starts with our staff. And so our why is to introduce something like that.
Hi, I'm Amanda Hall Fleming. I'm a high school secondary interventionist. I was an EC teacher for almost 20 years. So good evening, everyone. Good evening.
We wanted to improve future perception of Terrell County schools in order to recruit students and retain high quality educators. And as we were there, a lot of us spoke on how, when we first started working for Carroll County Schools, that nobody left, and that we'd like to get back to that again. This is a good place to be.
It was very hard to get Carroll County Schools 20 years ago. Everybody stayed, everybody loved it, everybody trusted us, and it was a community-based school that was driven by community and the school together collaboratively. And so the turnaround rate and the revolving door did not happen.
We were gonna do it by fostering a collaborative and supportive school culture, implementing innovative professional development opportunities, and enhancing positive community engagement. We can significantly improve teacher recruitment and retention, elevate teacher morale, this is where we wanted to start, positively shape the future perception of our school district, and maintain strong local student enrollment in our public schools. So, as I just said, we really felt like teacher morale is where we wanted to start, and that has been down. And the three things that we felt like were our high leverage changes are morale, improve teacher and staff attitude. You know, the teachers are going out into the community and talking poorly of the schools, and of course that's not okay. Our communication, sometimes it's not timely, or things get canceled last minute, or things happen last minute, and it's just not conducive to a great working environment. And then us working around a common goal. And then straight talk. It seems like sometimes we don't have clear expectations for staff, students, parents, stakeholders, and just what those expectations are, including what the community can do for us. I think sometimes the community wants to help and just doesn't know where or how. And so we'll get to that too.
So we kind of brainstormed what immediate actions might be able to be implemented, and boost staff and teacher morale was, we felt was imperative first, because if we can build it within, then hopefully it will leak out. Students will see the morale, they'll see us happier, they'll see everybody supporting one another, and so then they can go back to their homes and say, well, this has changed, and I see this, and then, so hopefully that we can get that going again. So we're going to create an interactive schedule for convocation, faculty meetings, in order to help build relationships with new staff, while reigniting relationships with veteran staff members, share workloads and expectations. That's another area where we were concerned, because the veteran teachers are the ones that continually are doing, and we get these new staff members. We want them to stay, so we want them to start learning and doing, so that they become the seasoned teachers and they become knowledgeable. And it's a shared workload rather than expectations of just a few.
So we also wanted to boost the student morale, because like it was said earlier, if the teachers don't have anything nice, well, it's the same way with the students. If the students go home and they're talking bad about the school, that reflects back on the parents' attitudes as well. So we wanted to start with some school spirit, trying to get some like Wildcat Wednesdays, have the kids dress in school attire, maybe have some awards where they can get some school attire for free or earn it in some kind of way, have banners and displays, have some games and prizes to bring back some overall school spirit. So when the students go off to college, they said, I'm proud to be a Wildcat, I'm proud I'm from Columbia. And that's going to leak out into other communities. They're going to be like, oh, we need to take a look at Terrell County. Maybe this is the place where we want to go teach. Maybe this is the place where we want to have our students come. So we wanted to try to do some things to make school fun again for the kids and have them boost their morale as well.
Now we see this a lot more in high school, because kids think they're grown, but they're really children in bigger bodies. And so even though they're high school and we're transitioning them into adulthood, we can do that, have fun, and still build that, and still do incorporate sports, and still incorporate, we even talked about military, bringing more military out and what they do. And it's just making sure that they isn't the same thing over and over and over every day. We need to change the monotony just a little bit to make it more exciting. And so we're hoping that by having Spirit Day, having this day, doing something and building that in, that the kids, again, will buy in. We want that buy-in, that support, that morale. And then communication, clear, timely, in various forms. We brainstormed about doing a TCS newspaper. We have the lab at the high school, and having the students do that. Facebook, wall call, and then willingness to ask community churches, local clubs, retired educators to come back and help within the schools. And the purpose of the newspaper is kind of replace the reminder. Everybody doesn't do Facebook. Everybody doesn't do. And we have an older community out there that we can put like little things in the churches and in Gum Neck and all these other communities that aren't local per se, that they still know what's going on in our school district and with our students.
Because we also have a lot of people in the community that aren't necessarily on Facebook.
Yes.
So if they have what's printed, then, they'll still know what's going on.
Yeah, we discussed having like a portion that we for each school, so PES, CMS, and CHS each have a portion. And that way the students can print it off at the school level and then, or we get put on at the school level, and then it can be distributed to a volunteer or whoever to take it to different churches and then get different, like the post office and, the library and restaurants in town. Like where we used to have the newspapers. Just trying to get everybody informed and involved. And while we were there, we learned on the behaviors of leadership, and so these are in no particular order, some of the ones that we like demonstrated, discussed. Demonstrating respect, extending trust, straight talk, talk straight, practice accountability, create transparency, show loyalty, deliver results to student and staff health and well-being, clarify expectations, listen first, and keep commitments. And so these are some of the things that we learned about while we were there, and as well as advocating for what we feel like needs to happen around us in our community and in our school. And we really feel like our staff and students' health and well-being is where we can start.
Does anybody have any questions?
That's good. That's great. That's good. I want to say thank you, Alexa.
Yes, thank you.
Well, I'm gonna say thank you, ladies, for going. Thank you for your leadership, for these ideas. So I need you to shoot to a straight, okay? What can we do as a board to help you accomplish your goals? Yeah,
Make sure
Communication, clear communication. I think that's that came up several times, and that was across the board for all schools. It wasn't just one. And it being timely. I know just in instance, maybe we had an event that came up on a Thursday and we're sending out all calls on a Wednesday. Parents need, everybody here knows, a lot of people don't work within the county and they have to travel. So making sure that they're available to come, they have to have that time, they have to have that notification. And so maybe if we can get a little bit better with the communication and a little bit more concise and timely, then we won't have upset parents. Then we will have more of a, parent participation. Building that back up is what we're hoping for.
thank you for sharing that. Because communication is key in a relationship, right? And it's got to start with us. So I don't mind you calling me out personally if I don't communicate well. But if there's anything else we don't know, I don't know, I can't.
I just think,
I know we all want to help you.
like, let our staff know that they're appreciated. I think that's really been on Anna's heart. I know this past year. And so I know that, I always try to make my BTs feel welcome and feel, they can always come to us and be included and we go talk to them and whatever. But sometimes the teachers who've been here for a while, I don't want to say we get forgotten, but get used a lot. And it doesn't feel very appreciated sometimes.
Well, I'm gonna apologize if it has not been communicated appreciation, because I do know everybody at this table appreciates you a lot. So when we dropped the ball and it has been dropped, I apologize. I'm sorry. And I promise I'll try to do better. I know we're all in agreement, but we'll try to do better in that aspect. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, ladies, and I hope you had a wonderful time connecting with other educators at the Julia Institute.
And I think that was a nice thing too. It wasn't just us. We heard a lot of the same issues everywhere. And so it wasn't just, ooh, us. No, it's across the board. So it was nice to also hear their view on it.
Good.
I think Ms. Silverman has a question.
Amanda, thank you for saying that. I think we all forgot when that was going to finish. And I get the pleasure, obviously, meeting you all. Thank you for coming here. But I get to talk to educators across the United States. And it's so hard when you're here and sometimes you're in a classroom and you feel like you're the only one feeling this, right? And it's something that I hear all the time. And so to hear you all say, I hear this across the state of North Carolina. and it's not just North Carolina, it's throughout the United States. But my big thing is, obviously, summer 2029 is over, and hopefully that we're all on the go, and we're excited to start the new year. But I know Mike said as a board, but it also starts obviously with us, but also at the school board. And I, in this building, and I'm really concerned, I want to make sure that this morale that you have to be able to continue. What are we doing throughout the school year for you all to make sure that we're still hitting those strides? Question, make other plans for this group. The second question is, how do you feel, or what can we do to make sure that you're able to provide feedback? You are the boots on. You know what we need. We can say that we want communication, but like you all see it, hear it, feel it every day. And so, how comfortable do you feel giving feedback so we can change? And is there a space? I don't know. Is there a space to give feedback? Because it's not in a sense of being negative, like Mike said. We learn from that. So, is there an opportunity? Is this something that we're going to continue with this group to work together this rest of the school year? What does that look like? And then feedback on what we need to do to make it better. Is there a space for that?
But these are our teacher leaders in the district. This is a formal group now, and it's formalizing even more across the state. So we've been doing our teacher leader program since I became the superintendent here in Terrell County. And I think previously they were not recognized in this way. Probably did not even know that there was such a group. I don't know if you knew before I got here that there was a whole cavalry out there of teacher leaders that were supporting other leaders, whether that's school level leaders or central office leaders. But we have to have a plan for succession. Like, we're not going to be here forever. So we have to make sure that our teacher leaders are supported, but they get adequate training so that they understand the procedures and processes and policies that go along with leadership. And a lot of the things that they're talking about in terms of will they continue to get together, yes, they will. We will be applying for a formalized teacher leader roles for Terrell County. Will be a part of the Advanced Teaching Roles program in North Carolina. And they will identify them based off of their EBOS data. Now, there are some teachers that don't have that growth data, and they will be placed in informal teacher leader roles if they don't have that growth measure. So like you might have a music teacher who is a dynamite leader in putting on events and activities, and but they're highly affected by the number of students that want to take their class or the relationships that they build, and that they are positively performing outside of their district as well. They take their students on a variety of experiences. Well, those will be your informal teacher leaders because they're not tied to an academic content area. They also get paid differently. We call those career ladder teachers. Here in Terrell County, we have experimented with the $10,000 teacher, which is the multi-classroom leader. Ms. Swain and Ms. Bouillon and Ms. Brickhouse served as those multi-classroom leaders, which means they serve more students and they lead. So they're leading and they're teaching, and they have to be compensated for that. Sometimes we have to take an allotment that we didn't bill for a teacher, and they can take on more students. We call those academic teachers of excellence, which means they expand their reach. They teach more students and they don't have a leadership role in any capacity. They're not leading PLCs or anything like that, professional learning communities. They're not leading anything. They're just teaching, and they're saying, yes, I'll take on 10 more, or I'll take on 20 more, just promote it to my classroom. So we are going to apply for a grant with 4 other districts because we're so small, we can afford to. Remember, we talked about sometimes we're ineligible because of how small we are. But we will, through the innovation project that we are a participant of, we will partner with 4 other districts. There will be 1 urban district with us in our cohort of 4 because they have more teachers. And they will have the opportunity to apply for a more formalized role as a remote teacher leader where they're coaching other teachers outside of Terrell County as well as in Terrell County and get compensated for such. There's an allotment that the state has that will provide the additional. So yes, this is a formalized group. Now, I don't know if they see the measure of us reaching out to them and getting their feedback, but they do spend time with me. So I'm not quite sure how you all feel about that. I have spent more time with most than others. So I really agree that you do have time. Probably not Casey as much, and I know that I haven't spent a whole lot of time with Amanda. But everybody else, we meet quite frequently, or if there's something that is not happening at the school level that we need to happen, then I will contact them and talk with them about how we can make that happen for our students. But I would say at the most part, it's more of a connection now between the teacher leaders and the principals, and making sure that they are heard and that those activities that they posted up there actually happens in the school. Because it is desperately needed, and it will not only boost their morale as teachers, but it boosts the whole morale of the school as a whole for the students. And so I would love to see all of the things that they suggested up there today. They have my full support with going forward with the things that they listed.
And I'd like to add to that by saying, by allowing teachers to go to NCAT or to go to conferences or those types of things, you have time where you're learning, but we also spend time outside of the classroom where we got to be adults and individuals and see how we're alike and how we're different and what we bring to the table. And then we feed off of that all year. I've called Jennifer and Jennifer's called me and said, hey, I don't know about this, can you tell me about this? And so we would call back and forth. I've done the same thing with Amanda, not quite as much with Anna and Casey, but again, we have that relationship established. So as far as you guys supporting, the best thing you can do is allow teachers and educators to go to these conferences, to continue funding those things, because without it, we don't have a chance to cross paths with each other because we're not on the same campus. So that's one way that you can be really effective in helping your teachers and teacher leaders.
And there's some things that we actually talked about as a middle high school team that we like that elementary school did that we haven't picked up. Like the elementary school does the calendar. Like it's like it's not like a calendar, you know, like a list of dates, testing, whatever. Makes in that note, and we just don't do that with our kids. And we feel like it would be beneficial. So there's some things that we were talking about pulling that elementary school did well, and trying to maybe line that up middle and high, so that we can incorporate those things and do our job with the Thursday communication.
And within the NCATS, we, all of the group, not just us, all of the schools that were there, everybody wrote individual goals and we scattered them all and everyone picked up one. So we all have accountability buddy. We all wrote a goal, and our accountability buddy isn't necessarily in this district. So that person is responsible for emailing us to check in on that goal. So we're building those communications very strong with that person that's our accountability buddy, but then we also shared information with other people we were working with so we can connect back with them. So I know when they were sharing their presentations, because we all did presentations similar to this there, that they gave ideas that we were like, oh yeah, we want to add that into our information. So I mean, just seeing their presentations and the different things they seen that were wrong and the ideas they had. And that was a big portion of advocating for what's happening in our school. And it wasn't just like coming with a problem, it's coming with a solution of what that problem was. So they showed us, we had a book that we read through, and it had how teachers have overcome that they don't have time to go observe other classes. How do we get over that? You video each other's classes, you can't drive across campus, then you use Zoom, you do something else. The same thing when she's talking about the virtual connections that we're going to have to teachers across the state working together. We can see their classroom, we can overcome that. And some of those solutions have already been made and paved the way for us, but some of them haven't. And we're the key to making those ideas of how to overcome that happen.
Well, I know that it feels like a lot of obstacles, and morale is something that we've been talking about a lot as a board, and so it's exciting to see that hopefully we're a little bit spot on, and I appreciate everything that you're doing. Turk County is special, even 20 years ago, it's still special now. You ladies are part of the secret sauce in Turk County. Not many counties can say, hey, I know somebody at the elementary school that I can call and access what I see. And I think that we need to figure out, and you already have, hone in on our strengths. And that's the strength. And you all literally are the strengths of our district. So thank you all for your time. And even coming out here tonight in the pouring rain and just sharing with us, because this is why we're out here. So thank you.
Do your colleagues know y'all are part of this leadership team? Like, can your colleagues come to you and, you know what I mean, that iron sharpens iron, right?
At the opening ceremony last year, we were recognized as teacher leaders and had an introduction. So everyone's called to the front. We had a quick introduction of the different things that we've been doing within the district.
Because other teachers might use you as a sounding board too, ask for advice and just let them know that, that would be good to.
Well, I was gonna say, I don't even think it's just teachers, it's parents. Who do I call?
Sure.
Who do I need to call? And knowing who to call and feeling comfortable that they can call is super important. I know some days that Miss Brianna will call me, she's like, I need you to call so-and-so small, like 3 of them. And I'll be like, okay, because I've been here longer. I know the family, I know the cousins, I know the brothers, I know everybody. And that, we are small enough that we should know that. We should respect that. We should love that. Because that is what makes us unique. That we can, okay, if this isn't gonna work with this house, well, let's go to an extended family member. Let's try, and we have those resources. So it's not even just the teachers. It's that whole picture. And that right now is broke. It's broke. And so we, as a team, would like to try to fix that.
I'll go and fight with you. Whatever it takes. Thank you, ladies.
I just like to, we have Gary start rewriting the ability in January. We don't think districts together and actually. Just that out. If you look
It's probably a great idea, because it's a really hard thing to write a plan. If you've ever done it, it's a very strenuous, like, I think one time we sat for a whole entire day just figuring out our definition of academically gifted. And that's, that takes too long. Yeah.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
I would just like to recognize Ms. Council received a full scholarship to EDU for her coordinator program. Thank you, ladies.
Next up is our director presentations. Thank you. And this is the first one, is the CTE building and capital projects updates with Mr. Ronnie Murphy and Mr. Don Moran.
I'll just click it away. Thank you. Coach, what do you think?
Good evening, everyone, board members. Very nice weather out. I just want to give y'all an update on the new building, all the projects we got going on. Just going to give you an update, touch on each and every one of them, hopefully. It's some of the stuff you're going to see on these slides, we'll go ahead and let y'all know. Some of it has changed. This slide was made last Monday. Some of it's progressed. Some of these projects are done. One of them I know is done. So, but I will let y'all know where we're at amongst it all. And then I've got some other things I'd like to talk to y'all about other than what's in this program, in this little PowerPoint here. So we're gonna get started. First thing, drainage issues at the elementary school. This is all going to be at the Terrell Elementary School. Drainage issues. I've got one estimate on what it would take. We're hoping to fix it. I've reached out to 2 other companies. They have not reached back out to me yet, and I've not received anything from them. So I'm still waiting on a quote to come in from them, so we can hopefully move forward with that project, to get that project, at least get it started, so we can start alleviating some of the water issues.
So you're trying to get a total of 3 bids?
Yes, sir.
Not really, is that a district-wide mandate?
It's a state mandate.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry to piggyback and interrupt, but, can we verify that, just to double check? 'Cause I know that there are some things that we do need 30 bids for, but they are turning in, we Or that based on the district size, you might not need 3 bids or something?
Remember, it depends on the funding source. Mr. Barrett?
Good point, and yes, you are correct in what you learn in training. 2 different types of bidding required. One's informal, one's formal. $500,000 is the threshold. So a formal bid of $500,000 has a completely different process than anything under that. You are required, it is preferred to get 3 bids, and there are requirements in certain cases, Dr. Roseberg said. You also need to show effort to an attempt to obtain 3 bids. And so what Ryan's been doing is reaching out to multiple companies. He did it once, he's going to do it again, and things numerous times, document it all. Because if you go out and you solicit and you effort and you reach out, contact, you get no responses, you can use that as documentation to fulfill it sometimes. It depends on the funding that comes from it. It's a different rule with federal funds. So these projects are most likely going to be local capital or a combination of local capital and various lotteries, which would be under the state funding guidelines. So his process could get to that point where you could end up in a situation where you have only 1 quote. Disadvantage of that, you don't really get the competition, but at least you have a number.
Is there a time frame that we have to put it out there for to give them time to give a bid?
The practice has been 10 days. That has been the preferred duration. Again, just that with the informal bid process. There are requirements when you go over the 500,000 that you have a longer period. And of course, if you have federal monies tied to it, there's a different period for that as well.
Mr. Wright, what was the first bid?
First bid,
Can't open anything. It'll be the only thing at this time because you can't open that publicly until the others are done.
Are we thinking it's gonna be over?
Until the process is done, then he can publicly present and announce it.
Can you explain exactly what the drainage project is over there? What exactly?
yes, what we have, we've got 2 drain basins that are busted, and we got the pipe that runs in between the 2 of them that's got sinkholes in it. Actually, what it is, when the pipe was put together, it's actually sagged, and the seams have opened up, and it's washed out the bottom, and the pipe slipped down. So it's like a sinkhole, it just creates a sinkhole, and just keeps washing the dirt away. So that's where the issue is where we get a sinkhole, we don't want a kid,
A bus running over?
no one, for that matter, kid, grown up, whoever, to fall or
A bus
twist an ankle.
A bus driving over?
Right, no, not just particular subject, no, sir.
But when did
Staff?
these bids go out? I thought we were talking about this for a little.
We have, the 2 companies that I'm waiting on, I sent them out Thursday, just past Thursday was a week ago. So,
And when did we secure our first bid?
first bid, probably about a month ago. And then when I found out we really needed 3, just for, so this one I reached out to the other 2 companies.
So the goal is that at your next board meeting, he would have the result of the process with the documentation of all the solicitations and a final recommendation on the award.
Mr. Poe was asking if there was a term limit with these funds that we're using for the drainage issue. So we are using local grant for this issue. What are we using?
I'm hoping, we really haven't because we don't know what the total number's gonna be, but I'm hoping to use lottery funds.
We don't know yet, because we don't know how much it costs.
Right,
That's
right.
what I remember.
Yeah, that's what
I
I
just-
talked about this in May and June.
That's
Yeah,
right.
but
That's
the
why I was
ESSER
asking some of these
The
questions.
ESSER funds have the term limit,
But they've already,
September 30th, so that would not be one of the projects that we always write. It would be the lottery for federal pay.
I'm with Ms. Liverman, I just feel like we've talked about this for like more than 30 days, and I understand the waiting for 3 bids, but I also think we have exhausted, but if we just reached out to those companies a week ago, then,
This last Thursday, actually just coming Thursday would be 2 weeks.
okay. So the 10 days is almost up,
Yes.
that's what we're hearing.
Also, I want to
And that's-
remind you all that you do have a meeting coming up to talk about this extensively so that you can identify what resource you want to use. That will happen during the work session on the 22nd.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr.
No problem, no problem. Still at the elementary school, we are expanding the pre-K playground. We're going from 2 classrooms to 4 classrooms this coming year, so we've had to expand it. We actually have put, the tricycle track in there for them to ride the tricycles on. It's actually in place, it's been poured. The fencing, it says next week, in the next 2 weeks, they're actually scheduled to come in on Monday to put the new fence up. I called them today and got a concrete, time schedule so I can kind of give y'all a really up-to-date. Playground equipment is actually scheduled to be delivered on opening day of school. We originally thought we were told originally when we ordered, it would be December. But luckily, somehow, it came in a lot sooner. It's gonna be shipped supposed to be here on the 26th, which is gonna be the first day of school. And we've done most of the finished grading, and we're just trying to get some grass to grow on where we tore the ground up so bad. Make sure there's no potholes and nothing for the kids to trip on, stuff is that nature. Sinkholes in the parking lots, we've got like 2 sinkholes that we've looked at. And we're still looking, we really haven't done anything with them because we're still on the big side of the project. This is another, on the opposite side of the drainage problem. It's still all connected, but we're trying to get the big part done first.
Can they be tied into that drainage issue?
Actually, it is all tied together, but it's on 2 sides of the campus. And
Can we take care of everything one time? Because if we don't, you can come back 10 years and have to take care of it.
actually, what my thoughts were, was for us, when I say us, the maintenance department, to come in there with the saw to get a square out where we could see what's going on down inside there. And it may just be where it's just a washout. It may not be anything wrong with the pipe. And then we can pack it back with rock. It's just that everything's happening all at one time.
Because with school start and staff parking out there, we don't need holes and.
Right.
We don't need to do that.
So that's where we're at with the sinkholes or the potholes. Lift station, I've got a quote from a company. For a station, they do not install them. I've reached out to a company about giving me an estimate on installing so we can know what we're looking at. Have not received anything back from them. And I reached out last Tuesday, I believe it was, to a place in Manio that installs. And I called them back today and I still have not heard. I tried to get back with them today and I still not heard anything from them. So we're still waiting on an installation quote. And that's something that really needs to be done. I understand it needs to be done like yesterday.
So you gotta get 3 estimates on that also, 3 bids on that also?
I've reached out to several companies and I've only got one company that's responded back. So
Are we in that 10-day window within?
we're way past that 10 days on that.
Can that be brought to the August 22nd session?
Excuse
For
me.
those station bids?
Yes.
Be brought to the August 22nd.
Sure.
session.
Sure. So that's the lift station. And I think that's gonna be all for the elementary school. Anybody got any questions, any more questions about this one before we leave off this slide?
I remember at one of our previous meetings, you had mentioned that a company from the beach gatherings, that they come and check out the sinkholes the next day, just to provide, did they ever come here?
They will come and look at the potholes as far as paving.
Never got
paving.
this day. Okay.
And I've got another slide on that too for y'all. It's coming for about 4 slides from now.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to the middle school. And I think the dust collection, you can say middle school, high school, I think they share it, but this thing says that the parts are here and projected should be done by the opening of school. They actually fired the dust collection system up yesterday. It is 100% complete.
And that's in the wood shop?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Awesome.
Yeah. It is, it has been a long time. So and that's one of them that I was telling y'all that some of the stuff has progressed a little bit. So that one is done, the top project there is done.
And we got our full occupancy, permit for that.
I need to get in touch with Mr. Jake, because Mr. Jake's the one that wired it up, and I have not had a chance to talk to him. The issue we have, we don't have an inspector
There is, they have a schedule for one.
here, only on Fridays.
Oh, no, there's a schedule. If you call the county office, they'll schedule a special time. There's a flyer in the county office that says if you need a building inspection. I'm gonna go take a picture and share it with you.
I was told when I called, because we actually called about the fire inspection, because we had to have a fire inspection for the schools. And we were told it was only on here on Fridays. So that's something else coming up.
They make a schedule. Yeah, there's a flyer that says contact and has the phone number. They'll come to inspection. They'll schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what they do.
Storm drains in front of the school, we actually went through, and pulled up all the drain covers, got all the sediment, and rocks, and debris out of the boxes. We actually cleaned one of the pipes out. It was kind of hilarious. I ain't gonna go into a whole lot of details, but we got a ton of stuff out of the drain pipes. The one pipe in between two of them, there's still several more that need to be done. It is a lot of work. I will vouch for me and Bruce is out there. It's a lot of work to clean them out.
Over at elementary school, sorry to go back, but weren't there a retention pond dug out that helped with drainage?
Yes, sir.
Okay, does all them pipes go to that retention pond?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry, didn't mean to get back off this.
Yep.
But that project's finished.
The retention pond is, yes, sir.
Okay.
It's done.
All right, good job.
But we have cleaned out the drains themselves and a couple of the pipes to try to alleviate some of the water issues that we're having at the middle school. I think we're gonna probably get it tested here in the next couple of days, so we will see. And we're crossing our fingers hoping we do not get water in school again. Air quality test was done in the middle school from where we got flooded, or I shouldn't say flooded, when we got a little bit of water in there from about a month ago. Test came back great. There's no mold. Actually, there's more mold outside the building than there was inside the building.
Do you do that test? Somebody has to come do
No,
it.
somebody has to come do it.
We don't have the capability of water system.
Had to be certified and some kind of little handheld meter, and he walked around with us. And,
What's that cost on it?
I think it was $300 for some
Okay,
system.
that's not too bad. Thank you.
So, but anyway, the air quality test was done. It was good. The floors in the middle school, they are done. All the rooms in the middle school, if I'm not badly fooled, as of today, should be deep cleaned, should be cleaned. And they're in the process of trying to get all the rooms put back together, desks put back where they are, and stuff like that.
Talking about the water, Mr. Ryan, not really what we mind if I ask Dr. Tripp a question. Hey, Dr. Tripp, no need to put you on the spot, I'm just trying to get your knowledge here. When you're leaving your office, heading west to the gym, on the right-hand side, there's some double doors that you open, they go out the side and go up to the gym. You know the doors are normal. Are they used a lot?
No, so they're not.
Because with that ramp there, a lot of water's coming down in there, right?
Yes.
So what would be the situation of breaking that off and not doing away with them double doors there to stop that water?
Could not answer that question, sir.
It's the fire.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Didn't mean to put you on the spot, Dr. Tripp, those doors got used a lot.
They have that one for exit.
That first number of students.
Just clear the code.
Any other questions before we move on?
Sounds like there's a lot of prep already going on, especially with the flooding, but is there anything else with Debbie that's happening that could potentially get up to 12 inches of rain?
We think we have got sandbags out. That set of doors that Mike was just picking up, is our prime entryway for water in this sandbag. It was sandbag yesterday.
Thank you, guys.
It was it.
I do have something
Okay.
to say or whatever about the drainage in front of the middle school.
Mhm.
Do you think it drains towards the 4 lane?
That's what I was told.
Okay, can we get something or have you check with the state to see if anything's clogged underneath the 4 lane or anything?
I have not gotten in touch with the state. I've reached out.
DOT, I'm sorry, DOT.
Yeah, I've reached out to Mr. Red White, the county manager, twice and asked him about it. And he said he was gonna send somebody out to check it. That's all I can vouch for. I know I have not talked to DOC, but I mean, that may be a possibility or a good possibility. We probably need to take that step.
I would, if, I would ask.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It would be something to look at.
Oh, sure.
All right.
Back in sandbags, there's any other system that we could do, them sandbags, they gonna wear y'all out.
There is, and that's one of the things I was going to, while we talk about it, let's get with it.
Okay.
Wrong stack. Don't bear with me. And I'm gonna pass these around. This is two different ones made by two different companies. I just want y'all to look at them. I've done some research on them. There's another one. Two different companies. They're actually installed. They're actually like, they're panels. They've got neoprene seals around both sides and on the bottom. You put them in the doorways, in the frame of the door, and it's actually got a screw on it. You screw the sides out and you screw the bottom down. And it's supposed to hold the water back. They are a little pricey, but if it holds water out of the building, it would pay for itself probably within 2 years of what.
Is that installed inside the door or outside the door?
You can do it either way. It's the one I read up on. You can do it inside doorway or outside.
Now, this question is maybe for you and Mr. Barath, but I'm trying to remember the doors, the exterior doors of the elementary school or the middle school. I can't remember correctly, but are all of our doors steel doors? Because I want to say that one of the ones at the elementary school was not a steel door.
Some of your entry doors are aluminum. They're aluminum frame. You have that right next to you there. So they're aluminum frame system. So this system can go against that, but if you put too much pressure, you're gonna bend the system. You would set it just past that against the brick returns and put it in tension there and compression against the sides so that it does the job.
Okay.
Do we have a flood in elementary school or the middle school?
No.
Yeah, the elementary school, if I recall, it has a switch that has to be turned on, so that something will power.
Just as we think, this would be worth a try, just to see what would happen. That's my fault.
Can you bring more information about that to the August 22nd work session?
Sure. Be glad to.
Instead of putting it in the door, see if we can't put it through the bricks, because what he's saying, it could.
Right. You can actually take those things, you can actually put them end to end, but you got to have a center support. And that's when you really get into it. And when you have center support.
Problem solved.
Absolutely.
Yes. So. But anyway. Anything else on why we're on this one? Moving on. New CTE building. The furniture is on order. And that expecting any time that is not correct right now. I got an update on it today. It's 2 to 4 weeks out. So It's gonna be a little bit before the furniture gets here. As far as occupying the building and using it for its intended purposes, we're getting really close. Some of the board members took a stroll through it today, and it's looking good. It looks nice over there. The parking lots at the CMS, CHS, with the potholes, I had a estimate on getting it paved. It was through the roof. So I reached out to DOT, NCDOT, and they actually came in with me and looked at the parking lots, and they said they do not pave the whole parking lot. I said, okay, can we patch a parking lot? They said, sure. So they, in return, sent me a estimate. I showed them where all around, everything except for the elementary school. Now, I've not done anything in elementary school. Everybody know that, because we're gonna have to tear that up. Okay, we'll fix the drainage problem. But this is just the two schools. They sent me I took them around, showed them what we wanted. They sent me a quote back, and we've already got it approved, and I thought we were set on go. So I reached back out to the gentleman. I hadn't heard anything from him. Reached back out to him, and I asked him, I said, where are we standing on far as getting the parking lot, the potholes fixed? And and I've got it up here, I can show it to you, it's the email. He said they have got a lot of money to spend right now, and they're busy spending money. New budget. They said it's gonna be Thanksgiving or Christmas at best before we get parking lots done. Don't worry, I got everyone to get today. So just want to let y'all know, it's not been forgotten. It's just, we're at the mercy of someone else. Okay? Any questions? On this one?
I have a comment. Did you hear that, Mr. Morale? That answers our flooding problem. The DOT has a lot of money to spend. We need to contact our DOT commissioner.
I can show you the email. I printed it out too.
He came up with our flooding issue today that we believe is caused by DOT.
That's the exact word that he gave me too. He said, we've got a lot of money we have to spend right now. That's exactly what he said. So I couldn't believe he sent it to me, but he did. I said, I still got it. It's in writing. Going to the program, that's about it for it ain't it. I got a few more things I want to speak about, but we're going to finish this up. We're going to jump to the transportation side, just to give y'all an update. New buses on order. I've been told should hopefully be ready to pick up next Tuesday or Wednesday. Hopefully, if things work out.
How many?
We're getting 5 new ones.
Did they drive them for you, or we have to figure it out?
We have to go get them. But they did tell me that if, because if we start school on Thursday, at times my drivers up. They did tell me they would help me with some drivers to try to get them back.
What will you have to do when we get the buses? Do you have to do anything to them?
Cameras,
Oh, at the
GPS,
bottom.
radios,
Gotcha.
tags,
Yeah.
all that good stuff. You gotta be installed. So they're still 30 to 45 days out once you get them from going on the road.
So my question is back to the second point there, that the propane infrastructure is not ready.
It is not ready.
Okay, so
I've
what
been
propane
told-
buses, if you can't fill them up?
Well, I've been told that, by the people that own the infrastructure, that it will be ready by the end of next week.
Fair enough.
And I just got that Thursday. So. They told me the 21st originally, he didn't came back and called me, and I said, look, I'm gonna have buses here hopefully before the 21st. I may need propane. He says, I'll get it the week of the 12th, which is next week. Any questions on the buses?
How long will it take you to install cameras, GPS?
Well, you see, we don't do it.
Oh, okay. Vendors do?
So, yes, ma'am. And so there we go again. We're gonna be waiting on them to, and I'm on everybody's schedule. They know I got buses coming. It's just gonna be a matter of giving them a definite day when we're gonna have them so they can get me in the closest slot they got on their schedule to get here.
So the 21st, the high school starts 15th, what we're gonna do for them a few days?
We're gonna go some more buses.
Okay, see that part. I didn't know if it was going.
Yes. Yeah, we still got to run we gotta run those. Ain't what we wanted, but. So on the slides. Make myself some notes in here. Yes.
Talk more about the high school.
Yeah. Hold on, miss. Can I jump over?
It's all right, we did.
I reckon I did that. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm sorry, y'all. Go ahead. We're going back up. I don't know. I must have double clicked it. I apologize. Columbia High School, the gym automation upgrade, the equipment. I talked to the people today. They have actually got it on order and waiting on to get in so we can get the installation done. So that's a project that's underway. The next thing, the AC units that need to be replaced at the high school, need to clarify some here. I was under the impression that we had units ordered. I found out last Thursday. Units have not been ordered. They're having the issue finding the size units that we need for our buildings. So we're trying to work through all the kinks in the program on that deal. And I apologize, I put on there that we're waiting on the install. I thought they were ordered. I want to make sure that y'all understand. I did not mean to tell you something wrong, but that is definitely wrong.
With those new units, I would like to have an upgrade on the electricity like we were talking about with John earlier.
That's one of the issues that we run. That's one of the issues we run into. We've got two small units feeding a big air handler inside, and they want to put one big unit on the outside. We don't have enough electricity there to power one big unit, and that's what they had originally talked about. And when we called it, I questioned it, and they said it'd be cheaper for you to get two separate units and use the electricity that you've got. So that's one of our, that's where we're backing up at, and I apologize for putting that on there, but at the time I was telling you the truth. Ceiling tile projects at the high school, we had 3 rooms. We put new ceiling tiles in. We put new lights in there also, and we had painted the rooms, and they look fabulous. Have you been up there and seen them? They look good. They look good. Floors in the high school, Miss Wanda I think she finished them up today. So the floor should be done. It should start tomorrow, start putting desks and all this good stuff back in classrooms, try to get them organized. Any questions? And I apologize for jumping over that slide out. I must have double clicked. Couple of things I wanted to just mention to y'all. Ms. Karen, I'm trying to speak out of turn while ago, but the reason I asked about the inspections is because we got a fire inspection, the only day we can do it is on Friday. So hopefully we're gonna do it this coming Friday.
It's my
So
understanding
it's
that
scheduled.
there's a different.
So, but just so everybody knows, we're supposed to have a fire inspection done before school starts.
Are there levels of inspectors?
Yes, it has to be a level 3.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
think the other project probably doesn't require level 3.
Could be.
Yeah,
You
so
could
that's
be.
why like your level 3 may only come on Fridays, so for the grading system.
But yeah, we've got it scheduled on Friday. I'm telling y'all it's scheduled. I got a question mark up here but at the end of it, because I've not heard anything back to verify the fact that we are going to do it Friday. That's what we were originally told.
So, speaking of fire, so we had a fire drill this past week or fire alarm or something?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the word got back that the responders were told that it was in zone 1 or 2 or whatever, but whoever they were talking to, staff member didn't know where zone 1 was.
And nobody knows what zone 1 is.
Okay, so we need to, whatever we got to do with
I
that.
called Doug, and Doug can't tell me what zone 1 is.
So if that's the
But
case,
let me say this also. They said it was at the high school in zone 1. The fire alarm, the button, it was a button right at the bottom of the desk, was actually hit at the elementary school. But it came back as the high school.
Not to interject, Jay, can you assist with getting those maps and things updated and then we get that to the fire department to be sure that those zones are matching up with what we have so that we're current?
I think, yes, ma'am.
I know there's numbers on the buildings, it'd be good if the numbers on the buildings corresponded with the zones. And if you're saying there's no zones, because we might can make them up.
I've called everybody, I did not call the alarm people,
So
because they were asked what zone one was, and they couldn't tell us.
if I could just interject, we've already worked on building the maps fillable. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
And the way that they were originally designed, they're not, I think Carson will back me up on this because he helped me do it, but it's not easily fillable because it's so small. So like in order to be readable, you know, or even filled, yeah. But I mean, we can get with them and get them maps, and so they know what buildings are what, if that'll help them. But yes, ma'am. Yep.
Is there a number of minimum fire drills we have to have each year? Is that how? Okay.
Within the first week of school, we have to have them.
Thank you.
Light pole project. We talked about this thing for, the project been going on for 2 years. Dr. Worrell has reached out to a company that's doing the lighting project in Washington County at the school, Metcom. And they contacted me, or actually she got the contact information, and I reached out to give him a contact. He asked me to send him a text message so he could send me his email. I sent him a text message. I've not received the email. Called him back today, sent him another text message. Said, are you going to send me your email? He said, yes, here it is, and he sends it to me today. So as of today, he's got a copy of our plans for the lighting project, for the ball fields. And that's going to be a wait and see. Let's see what they come up with, what they say. So that's just an update on that.
To add on to that, one of the complaints we got was the foundation design for the pole to go in, because it's not a top of concrete mount. It's supposed to be direct bury. The soils are so poor out there for them. It needs a footing to go in. And a lot of people were like, we don't have equipment to drill that deep in a 3-foot diameter with all the rebar. So I've been working with Mosley Architects, who did the initial design, to work on alternative footing designs that can make it easier, because they're going to have to de-water when they excavate as well. So one of the options we looked at, because of their calculations, it's a 6-foot by 6-foot by 6-foot footing that this pole has to be set into, which means to excavate down to do that, you're almost excavating a hole that's almost 16 foot square, 8 feet deep, so you can put stone and deep water underneath. So we're still trying to work on solutions for this pole that can go in and be conducted in a manner that's constructible. So we're still working with reaching out. Ronnie and I have also been talking to break it out and act as the almost general contractors and find people to do this part, this one to do this part, this one to do this part, in order to get these poles out.
Is that state regulation or DPI? Who's coming up with this, that footnote?
I mean, I'm just being honest, because this has been an issue, because here's the deal. We know that they put this, I mean, the lighting company told us they are the ones that put the lights up in the parking lot at the Lowe's and the Publix and the beach, and they never had to do anything that deep there. And we're trying to figure out where this whole,
So a light fixture is not going in. I want to say something.
Yeah.
If I may. I work setting poles almost every day. So there is so these poles out here are what, 50 foot, 45 feet tall?
43 foot.
43 foot tall.
43 foot, I think.
There is I can't think of the name. Something that you come up with the depth of the pole. So 45 foot. I know we set 40-foot poles every day, and they go 6 foot in the drain. Say 5 or 6 foot in the drain. That's it. And the soil I work with is in Hyde County. So I know it ain't no different than Terrell County. It's probably better soil. It's probably the same. So I don't see a problem. Only the thing is, you probably have to find somebody to dig the hole and set the pole for. I mean, that would be the only thing. My opinion.
And you're right. I mean, the original design was a 9-foot deep concrete footing, And I think the pole was recessed in that about 6 to 7 feet, 8 feet, something like that.
That's
And
way too big, that's like
and-
overkill.
But the problem is the soils, and when everything's mounted, what the engineer was calculating based off of the soil science geotechnical report is that there's not enough resistance once everything's mounted at top for tipping. That was the concerns they
There's
had.
nothing up top for it, I mean,
There's a lot of
The
equipment.
bar across with all the lights and the wind is where they are saying it's, and then the issue is somebody needs to seal it. Someone needs to seal the installation and they have the liability. And so that's where the issue comes in. So
Yes, you're
somebody
right.
has to seal it.
The lights, how big they are on top, it's going how big and how big of the framing it is.
And how heavy they
The
are.
higher it is, the worse it's gonna be at the bottom, with the wind.
Yep. And that's where they got the issue with the soils being too loose that it would tilt.
But because that's a practice field, we don't have to put it up there to talk to the good Lord, you know what I mean? You don't have to be so high. Right? So the height ain't got to be, it's a practice field. We just need to have lights so our kids can play, practice. That's, you know, what I'm not going with you, sir.
No.
I know it's not your.
We're trying to find a solution with what has already been purchased prior to both of us. and figuring how to get it in the ground.
I got another question, with the lights that's on the football field right now, it's the old poles.
Our
And then
grandfather,
how long have they been there?
because we're grandfather in.
A long time, and who knows? All I know is that someone's got to seal the installation with the permit, and so there's a liability that they're exposed to.
Understand.
Ron, are you
And I hear
aware,
what you're saying, I understand.
are you aware that we had purchased irrigation equipment for the softball and baseball field?
Yes.
Okay. Can we put that on the radar to get that put in? Now's the time to do it before we start playing in the spring or later on this fall. You know what I mean? I was with Doug when we did it. We come off the back of the pump house and go to both fields. And I know the equipment was bought.
Right.
I don't know where it is now.
It's in the shed back there.
Okay.
I run across the other day and I asked questions about it.
Okay.
And then that's when I was told what it was for.
Can we add both the lighting project and the water project to the work session in August 22nd? There is an irrigation, water irrigation project and the lighting project.
Thank you, Ron.
I've got one other thing I'd like to ask while I'm asking. I know y'all get tired of me. It's been the summer, I'm just letting you know. We have stripped all these floors. And we have re-waxed every floor in these buildings. There's been about at any given time, 3 to 5 people working on them floors, just about all summer long, 4 days a week. We have to sling and mop. We mop everything because we don't have nothing to do with it. We just don't have it. Miss Meyer in here. She is. Miss Meyer went and seen a demonstration of a couple pieces of equipment. It would make 2 people could do them floors in probably half the time with 2 pieces of equipment. I won't pass these around, just let y'all look at them, and then we can pass it out at a later date, but I just want y'all to see them. One of them is a little pricey, one of them is not very pricey at all. But y'all just look at them if you don't mind, please. The guys and girls that are slinging them mops all day long, every day, would really appreciate having these 2 pieces of equipment. They seen them operate at another school district. And they came back and they said, Ms. Ronnie, if we had them make our life so much easier and so much simpler.
Have you got enough staff?
That's another issue. No, we really don't.
So could maintenance keep another person full-time busy all year? A part-time person? Like maybe even get somebody to come do the landscape and the mowing.
If we
Won't
Now,
work.
now you own something, if we have somebody that can mow in the summertime. I don't know how many of y'all been around in the summertime, but I know y'all see me on the mower. I've cut grass. Because Andre's been stripping floors, Bruce has been doing everything else he can find. The grass has got to get cut.
We gotta
If
get
we don't cut at least once a week, it gets way out of hand. I cut grass yesterday. Cut grass, just the grass and the grounds would be great in the summertime.
As the board ever looked at, to get an estimate on the landscape company to do the flower beds and the mowing and just to see.
We have years ago. It was more cost effective than having an employee.
Gotcha.
It's something that we can look at in terms of part-time employment. We probably can afford full-time employment with additional benefits, but that's something we could look at in terms of having more.
Well, if he's saying that, you had all the approach with the floors and they need help, if we can do it, we need to do it, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. 'Cause I know Bruce he's burned the count both ends like most everybody is. Does a great job. And Ron, I know you are too, but, the man's, he's running transportation and maintenance out on the mower. That's pretty tough. Thank you.
Is there any other questions for Mr. Leckie? Thank you for everything, thank you for everything you brought to the table. Next up is our finance, fiscal year 24 final budget amendments, and fiscal year 25 continuation budget approval.
Mr. Chair, we recognize the team for the
I thought Dr. Wright was going to do that earlier when she was here, but I wanted to introduce to everybody our new finance staff in central office. So y'all will come up here with me. I'm excited to have both of them over working with me. Ms. Lahoma Mayo, she's our new assistant finance officer, and our new accounting specialist, transferring over from the high school, Pam Brown. So both of them, we are working on our workflows. We haven't had a lot of time to work together. It's been like putting out fires right now, but working on workflows and working on our organization charts. So I'm excited about that. Our idea is to cross-train between all three of us. We're all three going to be in the details. And so if one of us has to be out, then we have some support to carry on. Because as you all know, everything that has a dollar amount on it comes through finance. And so one way or the other, from transportation, cafeteria, teachers, everything, board members, it all comes through us. We're the end product. So.
Welcome aboard, ladies.
I'm excited that they're both here. Thank you. They're here from Laurel. Especially this fair. All right, so tonight I don't have a lot of new things that we're doing. We're doing catch up for the end of the year. So the final budget amendments, budget amendment number 7 through 12, which affects all of our funds. This is a summary of what we've done, and just to give you a little update about it, as we're working through the budgets, new money may come down, or maybe money that we had budgeted didn't come about. And so we have to make budget amendments at the end of the year so that when the audit is done, that we have planned properly. And even though we may have the same amount of money, it may have been in a different category in a purpose code. So these final amendments kind of clean all that up for the audit. And so what you approve tonight will be effective for the June 30th, 2024 date. Okay. So this is a summary for each one of them by fund, our state, local, or federal, or capital outlay. We had a little change in child nutrition. The net amount is not a lot, but we have some revenue maybe we didn't have recognized for a grant that kind of offset other revenues that we didn't get for meal reimbursement. So that's the amount that's there. And then in other specific revenue, we actually had MAC reimbursements that were not budgeted for the year that came in. So that's the bottom line, the total, $1,039,943.51, an adjustment to our revenue and our expenditure side for those budgets. And the detailed information is in the attachments, not in the presentation, if you want me to look at that. And it actually has in the attachments of the amendments, the summary by purpose code, each one of the purpose codes, the adjustments to like salaries or whatever the object codes are, you can see that in that detail.
Carolyn, can I ask questions about specific budget amendments, please? Just to make sure I understand them correctly. On budget amendment number 8.
Okay.
For the current expense fund.
Okay.
For the current expense, I want to make sure I'm reading this, that we're taking more, we have a fund balance appropriation that we're taking from fund balance to balance that of $86,898. Is that what we're doing?
We actually, if you look at the detail on the back of that amendment, we had expenditures for transportation of $111,000. That's in that purpose code 6500, where we had to use local dollars to fund transportation for this year. And so on the revenue side, sorry, I got all my papers backwards here. On the revenue side, we had to add the $86,000 that you see fund balance appropriated. That's additional fund balance that we are adding to the budget that we had to use to fund the transportation this year.
And what caused our transportation overage?
Our appropriation for the state in 056 was reduced. We lost revenue in that. It was knocked down to about $140,000 if I remember right. And our actual transportation costs for the year, $278,000.
Did we try any mitigation of that so we wouldn't go over? What caused us to not catch that so that we were over for fund balance appropriation? I mean,
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you're asking.
During the school year, if we were seeing that we were over in transportation, were we doing anything to try to mitigate that?
I'm not sure how we do that. We have to transport students to school. So the only other way that we can kind of help fund balance in local is reimbursement from programs for our activity bus. Because this is yellow bus transportation that we're talking about.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay. So, and we can do that, we can use some of that, but in order to, account for pupil transportation, it goes in the specific codes 056 on the local and the federal side. And when Mr. Murphy and I communicated with DPI, one of the issues with our efficiency rating was that we weren't putting any local money into transportation. That was one of the things they saw. And that was an issue for us. We did gain about 45,000, I think, Dr. Roseborough, I think for this year, back by making sure that we had some local support of transportation. So now, keep in mind, we also had transportation to Washington County schools that was different for this year, and transportation to Beaufort Community College that was different this year. We use yellow bus for that and not our activity bus. Last year's we used the activity bus, but we didn't have a lot of reimbursement from our programs.
What's the percentage, you have no idea what the percentage is that took away from our fund then, going to other places?
I probably have the mileage somewhere. I think we tracked the number of mileage. It was about 80,000, I think we estimated for that extra transportation.
And transportation was in the whole how much?
Well, we had to use 86,000.
Right, so there you go. There's the money.
Is there any way to get a detailed report to have line items so we can study that to make sure we don't duplicate that for this coming school year?
Sure.
Because our fund balance, if I recall, it was only like 350 and some change at the end of the fiscal year with our audit. And we're now taking 128,178. That's like almost half of it.
Right. And so that was for last year. And so for planning for this year, the things that we can do, and part of the things what I did at the cleanup at the end of the year was I made sure that we didn't have a whole lot of Mr. Murphy's salary in transportation. He's in a director role right now. And so about 25%, I used that for the first part of the year because he was doing the maintenance work. This year, we won't pull that in there. It will just be the bus mechanic and the bus drivers will be the people that we coded for salary and benefits in there. And then the actual cost of the buses.
We're still going to go to Beaufort and Plymouth and Preston, whatever.
Yes.
Correct. How many
Our early
colleges?
college dollars, we have to have students on the campus of Beaufort, or you use your early college dollars, which is about $200,000. And then our Washington County partnership, as you know, Beaufort also has classes in Washington County, which is closer in the middle for our students and their students. But our kids want to participate in JRTC, which is outside of the Beaufort framework. We pay for that. But I just want to be clear that we also have allotted grant dollars to the transportation for our students. So we get early college money that we've allotted transportation out of the early college budget. We also have a Strong Connections grant that we allotted transportation dollars in that grant. And our CTE dollars can also be allotted for some transportation. So we have multiple grant funds that help support the programming for our students. I would say that this upcoming year, in terms of our efficiency, I think we're in better shape because we are running buses to program.
And the
We
costs
also were doing door-to-door stops. I mean, that's not being efficient and effective. You know, we need to look at how we need a transportation study. Because we really need to look at this door-to-door and trying to find a midpoint and really doing actual bus stops for students. It just depends on how far and wide the chassis is. That's why we need a transportation study so that we're making an informed decision about transportation.
How many kids will we have? We don't have a bus, so say when they have 3 or 4 kids, we got a car, don't we? Can we put the kids in the car to take them over? That's a lot cheaper than that bus.
we don't have a liability insurance.
Our whole high school is an early college.
Oh, I understand. I'm talking about busing them over to, so every one of them kids got to go to Beaufort?
How long you have to transport them, yes. But then the access.
Well, all these grants are really good, and they do an awesome job. I told you several times that. But that hasn't helped us in this situation.
And keep in mind too, remember some of those grants did not get finalized until like May and June. And so, we can't, there's almost so much time that I could go back and like capture some of that, those reimbursements, because the money wasn't available to draw down. So this year we are.
Were you running the activity buses first?
I'm sorry?
Were you running the activity buses for the runs first before you moved to the yellow buses?
I don't think, I don't remember how we were doing that.
Mr. Lund said no.
Yeah.
I'm
not sure how we were doing it.
And you get reimbursement for the program.
This fund balance is my words, is like a savings account.
It's exactly.
Okay.
And so
Right.
that's
So
exactly.
you're asking now, you guys are asking now for me to support something then if a hurricane comes, what we gonna do for?
Well, Mr. Hall, just so you know, this money's already been spent.
No.
I mean, this is
no way.
right, this right here,
Who
for
proved
this,
that?
this is for last year, for last year. This is money that's already been spent and, already gone out.
Why am I voting on it then?
Because it has to be for an audit, the audit purposes. The final budget amendments have to be made so that we have an approved budget resolution.
Can we separate the amendments? Because honestly, I can't support something that I'm not with, but there's some of it I can support. Can we,
The amendments are there, the budget amendments
Can we separate them?
they are separated if you look at the attachments.
when we go voting on them, asking the board, when we go voting on
Yeah,
it, can we?
just whoever makes the motion needs to make a motion to approve amendment.
Okay.
Number 7,
All right,
number
thank
8,
you.
number 9, 10.
All right, so any more questions about last year?
I do have a couple more.
Okay.
Sorry to make sure I'm following this. You know, they all have to do with fund balance. Y'all know how I've been very honest how I feel about fund balance from the get-go. So I'm bringing them up and I'm just making sure I understand it because I want to make sure I understand it correctly. On budget amendment number 11,
Okay,
we have a fund balance appropriation of $47,028.43. Now, this one's a little bit different. Is this our capital outlay fund balance, which that money is?
Yes.
Is the
Yeah,
local,
right, and, our capital outlay,
that's a little bit more money than the other.
yes. And remember, there were change orders that were done and things that happened with the construction project that were due to the change orders, then we had to have a budget amendment. The initial budget did not have those change orders in there.
Right.
Or repairs that may have happened at the school level that weren't budgeted from the very beginning.
Okay. Okay, my last one is, or my next one is budget amendment number 10. Okay. And this is just me refreshing how we work on this one. This is child nutrition, which I know we've done some cost savings there. Right, is this 25,000 when we did the study, or is it just for the salary of the child nutrition director that we have to pay out of local funds?
We hired a consultant to come in.
Great.
So that was an extra cost this year. That part is in there, and then whatever the difference, that $25,000 is for whatever expenses were not covered by the revenues that came in. So participation has a lot to do with that. We had our CP was 94%, is that correct? And so 6% of whatever the meals were, we had to come out the cost. That is much reduced. I don't have that memorized. Maybe Ms. Meyer address that. But our reimbursement rate for that 6% is much lower than for the 94%.
Okay.
Okay. So that difference in 25,000, we still moved $45,000 out of state to support the director position.
Okay, so that's
yes. And then some of the revenues, like I said, were lower. But we also, on the positive side, we had much more catering revenue coming in. So that fund balance that was used was not as much as we had originally thought it would be.
okay. And the next one is on budget amendment number 12.
Right, the other specific revenue.
What exactly is the fund balance appropriation covering and other specified revenues for $68,546?
Okay, so for other specific revenue, we have to make sure that we have that money obligated everywhere. And so we had additional revenue coming in that we needed to budget the revenue side of it and have an offset in expenses. So this is the budget, but it may not necessarily be the expenses for that fund.
How will we know that? Because this total here is $151,135 of fund balance.
If you look at the revenue side of it, that's what I can get in front of me. And I haven't reconciled the fund balance for any of the funds yet. So.
And that's my next question.
I don't have that. I don't have that number for you. I've got a 65 item list from the auditors that I'm trying to work through. And that's one of the things that I have. Sorry, I've got all my stuff. Okay, so if you, we have fund balance in, let's see. Okay, so part of it, one of the expenses that we had was we had an intern, assistant principal intern, that we got money from the state. The state just did not support the benefit side for that employee. And so we used our fund balance and our other specific revenue to provide that retirement and health benefit for the employee.
Okay,
So that is something that was not budgeted originally.
okay.
And you'll see that, let's see, that code is Purpose Code 6100, listed in there, that $42,000. That's on the back side of the amendment. We also had recreation use part of their fund balance period in the prior year for equipment. And you'll see that under 5,500, the $10,600 expenditure increase there. And then we had some operational costs, and I don't remember what that breakdown is for the $26,000. That was in addition to our expenditures, and that was probably trying to manage some of the costs for CATS and summer programs, because those programs fall under other specific revenue. But I can do a detail if you need that.
Okay.
Back to transportation, I'm thinking on running that's dangerous. So with the calendar difference, with the high school starting at this point, middle school, middle school, different. What's it 2 weeks gonna cost us? Couldn't we try to get it more, you understand what I'm trying to say? I know it's hindsight now.
We worked with the attorney to get it as in sync as we possibly could this go round. So the staff is on the same calendar now. And the students, both for community college, we still have to start early, with that. But like I said, the state, you have grant funds that allow for us to pay for our students to be transported, within the program. But hopefully, the calendar law will be changing soon. We can all start together, right?
Some of that's out of
And I
our
didn't know
hands.
And
that's
you
why I
remember,
asked.
we talked about, we just have to remain quiet, because we're not trying to rock our boat and look at funds that.
That's why I'm saying it here, not there.
But I do want to reiterate, because, I know we're live and, don't know who's listening, that our transportation budget was increased. And whoever did it, we thank you. So I'm saying
Very
that
much so.
publicly, that we are appreciative of the increase in terms of student programming. So our students have educational opportunities regardless of geographical area.
What, Ms. Carolyn, if this didn't get majority, what happens?
Well, we don't have any money to pay our bills, so we've got to have a budget.
No, the way I was reading it, there was one amendment that if it passed, we could tap into the state and pay our, make sure our staff got paid and all that stuff, correct?
We're talking about
Contingent budgets.
Okay,
Okay.
continuation budgets.
So if we separate it, we could
Okay, so-
pass that part.
Okay, so if you decide not to approve any of these budget amendments for the end of the year, then it will be definitely an audit finding, and it will have to be addressed by the board in written form in the audit. So just keep that in mind. So,
That's good. That's fine. Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Carroll.
When will we have a final accounting of our fund balance?
I'm not gonna venture to give you a date right now, because right now, our audit, hasn't even really started yet, because I have that long list of items on to do lists that have not been done. That should have been done the first week in July. As soon as I get a deadline, I will let you know. Okay, so now, there's no more questions about last year's budget. As you know, we need approval to continue operations going into for the new year. The allotments are steadily coming down, but we haven't actually finalized that budget. I've got that on my to-do list. Do your budget notebook and go into the details, get the staffing plan, because we've still got people onboarding. And so what I've done is actually gone in here and I've done a continuation budget based on last year's numbers. Try to eliminate what funds we know are not going to be coming back. So for instance, in our federal dollars, that's actually our carryover from last year. That's no new funding for federal. Those budgets won't come down until October 1. So when you're looking through that, some of the details. I wrote that down by purpose codes. I do have a formula out there that I use to figure that out. Looking at local appropriation, because I got information from the county finance officer about what they actually approved in our budget. We actually have less money in our local, and a little bit increase in our capital money, and then we had an increase in our other specific revenue for our teacher supplements. So all that was taken into account when I did the preliminary recommendation. What's not included in here that we will have to build in there is salary increases, changes in benefit plan. All of that will be part of the work for the actual budget. So we're doing a continuation budget based on last year, with the changes to take effect once we get all of the allotment information in and for state and federal dollars.
Carolyn, are the benefits underneath 6,600?
No, the benefits are across the board. And so I don't have the object code. It would get, so this is a purpose code. This is like the big overreaching.
Okay.
And then we have object codes that break it down by salary benefits. I don't have that here on these slides.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
But I will.
Okay, just trying to learn, that's all.
Yeah, I will when I do the budget notebooks, you'll have that detail.
Maybe itemized, right?
And you will get a list of all the employees and how much it costs by category.
Okay.
Work in progress.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the information.
So if you look at the language, resolution to adopt a continuing budget for the operation of the public schools for starting July 1 of 2024 and ending with the approval of the operational budget for 2025. So that will be that notebook we're talking about, and that once we get all the allotments information in.
You know, I know you're on 25, and something that I kept looking at was our budget was like at 13, and that thing I was reading was 16. And that's a big difference from last year.
Well, remember we had extra money last year. You know, you had money last year that we had to spend, and we spent that down. Your for capital, we're pulling money down for some of those grants expire. And when you look at here, what you see in the federal is just the carryover. We don't have the new year federal budgets in there.
And all of our districts are having to adjust because we don't have that large pot of money that we had before. That's wonderful things we were able to do, trying to figure out how to deal with those things.
So I understand you said the money's spent, but if it don't get approval, what's that mean for us? Just all the thing, we got to write a letter saying we need approval?
And the auditor's gonna wanna talk to you.
I can talk, let's do
So there are two different things that Ms. Carolyn presented. There's budget amendments which go for last year's budget. And then this year is the continuation budget that she just presented. Is there any questions on the continuation budget so we can pay bills for this?
Ms. Young, my question is, I know first or second year, we ended up doing a continuation of about 80%. We didn't know. Are we using the exact same budget? I'm trying to figure out more so for this continuation budget. Do we take an effect of the potential loss of AD, and what did we do? How did we come up with this?
I actually used the budget and did 80% of it. Thereabout. Eliminated a revenue that wasn't gonna recur. So usually, basically, this was just a formula. I didn't go through and do a detail like we do for a regular budget. This is preliminary. Hopefully this is gonna be over. This is gonna be over in a month or two, and then we'll just.
it. You just need access so you can pay it.
Yeah, we just need to be on the record that because really, technically, we shouldn't be operating.
So I want to make sure that, especially Mr. Sawyer and Mr. Cole understand that this is a preliminary budget to get us to be able to pay our faculty and staff and to pay those bills that are due the next couple of months. And then as we get all the drop downs, which I think I learned about at core training, then we'll get presented a budget notebook that we work off for the year. And I bring it to every meeting because I always use that as a resource. But this will be the more detailed than what I just.
That's the book you were referring to.
Yes.
And so how the budget process works. So we have administrators that have a budget request that are submitted to the superintendent. The superintendent and I work together, this is what we're prioritizing, put it in the budget, okay? Then that becomes the superintendent's budget. The superintendent presents her budget to the board to adopt as their budget. And once the budget is adopted as the board's budget, that's what the district uses to operate on, okay? That's why we're coming to you and asking for amendments for approval. All along, you may have been approving personnel hires that maybe were not in there. You may have been approving projects that are not in there. And I apologize for not getting amendments to you every time that there's a change, but that can be done. I've seen years where we had 50 budget amendments. But there is a clause within those budgets that says the superintendent can move within purpose codes. So we try to, as best we can, follow those guidelines.
So in layman's terms, moving in purpose codes, robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Sometimes.
Well, sometimes, because we might have a plan, okay, say for instance, you have a plan that you're going to hire a teacher, and the teacher leaves mid-year. And so that teacher's spot is filled by someone who's non-certified, and it has to come out of a different budget code, because we can't pay a non-certified person out of it. Whatever.
I'm trying to
And so
downtalk.
there's a lot of that.
I'm
that
glad the
happens.
flexibility is there, that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's why we,
But we don't need to be addicted to it. We need to have it in
yeah,
a
it's-
scope.
well, remember the budget is your plan. Sometimes the plan doesn't always.
And that's where the
Okay, like
flexibility
this.
comes in, correct?
That's why we try to budget at a purpose code level and not at a program code level. Because if you did it by program code, you're limited by the dollar amount. If you do it by purpose code, then you can use all the program codes to cover your.
I'm glad we have the flexibility to do that. That's good to help us.
Mike, the only thing I would like to add with the continuing budget approval is just to be mindful that we don't know what that remaining balance of fund balance is going to be. We need to operate very cautiously. I understand making payroll. I don't want to scare anybody. We're going to make payroll or make our bills for all that. But for some of the other things we do, we need to just operate lean right now until we have a better grasp of this. I know I was familiar with that because I am very concerned about the fund balance.
Well, the goal is to not have to use fund balance.
That's right.
If we can do that.
But we've already used it.
This has fund
last
balance in it. That's what I'm concerned about. I don't know if there's fund balance there to cover. So.
So let me ask you this then, Ms. Carroll, there's a rollover year after year?
What fund balance? Fund balance is what was in our checking account. And I think I gave that to you all a couple of, either a work session ago, the balances in the checking account.
I just used what was in the audit. That's the.
Well, and so a more real number is what's in the bank account. Okay? So if you look at those, cash balances that we had, that was the preliminary numbers that I used when I'm looking at how much money we have available.
So, I don't know. You did, your one might have it.
I would like to separate these amendments and vote on individually. So I need to make a motion for that this time.
You will, but there's two
Okay.
different,
All right.
there's several different motions that need to happen. Because we do need to approve some things for Ms. Carolyn.
Whatever she needs approved, make sure our staff gets paid, that needs to be done, the rest of it.
So, the first thing, that seems to be the less contentious of anything, is the board needs to approve a 24-25 continuing budget resolution beginning July 1st, 2024, and ending with the approval of the fiscal year 2025 operational budgets. And that's what Ms. Carolyn just finished discussing.
So I'm clear, we pass that to our staff, everybody gets paid, nothing changes, correct?
Right, and we won't do any kind of salary increases or salary adjustments until the next budget is approved. And so, because as part of that, we need to approve the salary scales, we're working on that, and the adjustments to benefits. But that will be all rolled into the budget, the actual budget that is approved next year.
I just not the money, our new salary schedules have dropped down, so anytime we have a new salary schedule, we have to adjust our pay schedules. So we're going through that process again, that's one of Ms. Carolyn to-do list items, the local team is adjusting that. Also with that, you may recall that before our two new board members came on, we had talked about the difference between exempt and non-exempt employees. And now we have no choice but to make sure that all of our classified staff are hourly employees because of the way our new money system is going to be set up. For fiscal management, it has to be clearly defined, so we're working on that. And we have some folks that are on the classified schedule that we are going to move over to salary and central office folks to keep that clean for us. So that's a big project. I just, want the board to know that we're working very hard on that. And now that Ms. Carolyn has her new team and the new information from the state, that's what they're working on.
We'll have the budget for the work session, not right now.
No, we will not have a budget for a work session, but look, we're prayerful it'll be September when we start diving into new salary schedules and the budgets and all the allotments are in. We can't even get our federal budget preliminary plan through right now. We're still operating off the carryover.
Thank you.
So the first action needs to be to approve a 24-25 continuation budget resolution. So Ms. Robbins made a motion to approve the 24-25 continuing budget resolution. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, how do you vote, Mr. Salyer?
But yes.
How do you vote, Ms. Lieberman?
Yes.
How do you vote, Mr. Cole?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you vote, Ms. Dunbar? And I vote yes. The 24-25 continuation budget resolution has been approved and passed. The next item is the approval of the final budget amendments for the fiscal year 2024.
I make a motion that we continue this amendment resolution until our work session. Because in order for me to approve amendments coming from the local funds or fund balance, I would like to see what that is. I can't make a true amendment or vote for yes for something that I don't know what's in there. So I make a motion to continue it to our work session with more detail of what exactly is in here.
Second.
We don't do seconds.
Okay.
So Ms. Lieberman has made a motion to continue, or you want to table?
Table it.
Sorry.
Table it.
You picked a table, the approval on the budget amendments until our August 22nd work session, pending clarification on the fund balance. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, how do you vote, Mr. Sawyer?
But yes.
How do you vote, Ms. Liberman?
Yes.
How do you vote, Mr. Cole?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you vote, Ms. Umar? And I vote yes. The board budget amendments are tabled until the August 22nd work session. Thank you. Is there any other questions for Ms. Carolyn?
Thank you, Ms. Carroll.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next up is our superintendent's update for this one.
With the organization chart for her as well. Go ahead,
Yes,
go ahead.
I'll do that first.
Go ahead.
This is our new org chart, and for our board members, we provided you with a little handout of everybody's picture and their position. We do have some of those folks in the room today. Others are still on vacation, and we'll be back with us shortly, but we'll start off with Dr. Wright. Dr. Wright, if you stand up, please. Dr. Wright is the Executive Director for Human Resources. But in addition to that, she wears another hat as our federal programs and BT coordinator and support. And when we start our work on the advanced teaching roles, the teacher leadership group will fall into that category of BT support and teacher leadership. Thank you, Dr. Wright. Chief of Accountability and Technology is Ms. Curls. You may recall Ms. Curls was also leading as our Chief Academic Officer. However, right now with all the changes that are happening at the state level, she is going to take on our testing along with technology due to our changeover to Infinite Campus, where all of that information will be housed in that software system. And so we think it's important to keep local testing as well as our state testing together. And provide the information to our instructional leadership team at the same time so that our teacher leaders that are on the instructional leadership team, as well as our school administrators, everybody will get the same information at the same time in terms of school level testing and statewide testing. So she will be serving as the Chief Accountability Officer, as well as technology. So with curriculum and instruction, what will happen with that, with the Chief Academic Officer role, is that I will be attending some of those Chief Academic Officer meetings, meeting with the principals, and the principals will be leading that work in the instructional leadership team meeting to take some of that work off of Ms. Curl's plate, that we all take ownership for curriculum and instruction in the district. Awesome. We also have a CTE Innovation Coordinator, which is Mrs. Kristen Berry. We're happy to have her on board. She's already out the gate, off and running. She'll be supporting Hyde County, Terrell County, and Washington County, but Terrell will serve as 75% of her duties so that she can help us with managing our CTE funds as our CTE Director, our CIMC, which is our Curriculum Instruction Management Coordinator, and also she's a licensed school administrator as well. So there may be times that our folks have to be out or something, and either Ms. Curls, Ms. Kristen Berry, or Ms. Mason can actually sub for us in an administrative capacity because they all have principal licensure. Then we also have athletics, which falls up under school administration. So athletics falls up under our principals. Then we have our Director of Exceptional Children and Support Services, which is Ms. Mason. Ms. Mason is on vacation right now, so she will take on student services. I think this is a model that we had before with Ms. Devereaux. Ms. Devereaux was over exceptional children and student services, and Ms. Mason will continue to support pre-K services. She'll have MTSS. Ms. Bouillon serves as our MTSS coordinator for the district. And then we have an interventionist, a secondary interventionist, which will be Ms. Amanda Hall Fleming for the middle and the high school. But Ms. Goulion will be attending our MTSS district meetings, regional meetings, along with Ms. Mason to get that information and bring it back to the school level for us. And then we have our student services, nurses, social workers, and behavioral specialists. That's a team within itself, but Ms. Westcott and Sarah Edge will both support Ms. Mason in leading that particular work. Then we have our chief financial officer, which is Ms. Simmons, and you met Ms. Simmons' team today, and they're currently working on their org chart on who's gonna be doing what. And you'll notice that we have Mr. Ronnie over there with the chief financial officer because of the number of capital outlay projects, and that cuts out the middleman, and he can just go right to her to make sure that he can access the funds that he needs to get the capital projects done without holding up any time constraints from us. And I know Jake is in the room too. I want to talk a little bit about that. I think in the past we've had technology all together, and it's really two different functions in education. You have instructional technology, which is Ms. Curl's role, and then you have information technology, which is pretty much Jake and Carson's role. So Jake will operate as a lead technologist for the district as well, because we used to have two leads together, but now we have one, and Carson is supervised by Jake. So I think that's everybody. I think I covered everything in terms of our org chart. But we hope to see more efficiency with this model, dealing with less people and putting some things up under school administration. I also want to give a shout out to our administrators because they each have a specialty area now in curriculum instruction. Ms. Brianna Williams has added CTE to her licensure, so she'll be attending regional CTE meetings with Ms. Kristen Berry, again, thinking about that plan for succession planning. Dr. Tripp will be attending STEM East meetings, and he will also support Project Lead the Way with Ms. Kristen Berry. And then at our elementary level with Ms. Bridgers, she'll be supporting some of the curriculum instruction, and with her team with MTSS, some of that work with our ILT and our Getting Better Faster tools. Are there any questions?
I got one, Dr. Bro.
Yes.
So Ms. Brianna's taking on another role with the CTE, correct?
No, she's not taking on a role because those teachers are in her building. She's attending those meetings to be sure that.
How many meetings will that be a year?
They have one a month. They have regional meetings a month.
Oh.
Actually, one of those meetings are gonna be in Terrell County.
Oh, that'd be great. She needs to be on campus with all due respect.
Yes. She will be on campus, but she's gotta go and learn too.
Absolutely.
So she gotta continue to grow. That's because we all earn continuing education units as administrators and educators, and we have to get our credits for our license, or we can't keep our license current. So that's my way of supporting them in their growth and development as school leaders. Okay?
Well, that's some feedback from the community. I'm just passing it on.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So next I'll go into my August update, and we'll have more updates in September because we have lots of plans that we'll approve in September, but for the sake of time, I wanted to make sure that you had the information for the opening of school. Staff and student notifications regarding logistics for the start of the school year should go out the first week in August. And we send out our welcome back letter today from the central office, and our principals will also be doing personalized messages to their staff and students as well. On August 7th, our principals and teacher leaders will be working together on minute-by-minute plans, which is our rollout for the school year, where we'll be practicing our procedures for cell phone usage in the buildings, meet and greet, how we want to meet and greet our students, as well as going over our district-wide rules and expectations. And we'll be practicing. So we don't want it to be a sit and get. We actually want to practice how our students need to practice so that we're all on the same page in terms of our expectations. August 13th is convocation. Go for the gold is our theme this year, so that we always exude the gold standard when it comes to interfacing and supporting our students and families and community members. In terms of, like our teacher leader said, in terms of our communication being seamless and the way that we go about communicating with our local community is all part of our focus for convocation for Go for the Gold. But most importantly, we think it's a great time for us to reset. As a district, we have a new teaching code of ethics in North Carolina. We have new legal mandates coming up in North Carolina, and it is going to be somewhat interactive, but for the most part, it's really going to be a day of resetting our district. We will go over HR, legal mandates that have to be covered. We also will be looking at inclusive practices in terms of our EC students and all students, and how all students need to be respected in the classroom and on their campuses, and that we should all have a welcoming atmosphere. And we also will be talking with our staff members about some new technology updates as well. So a lot of new things, and finance also has a presentation where we're going to make sure that everybody understands the difference between exempt, non-exempt, classified, and hourly. We need everybody to be on the same page for seamless communication, and really for them to know what it means to be an educator going forth from 2025 and so on because of this reset year. We're happy that we're not part of the Infinite Campus rollout right now. That's the growing pain for a lot of districts, while we get to watch it all happen and listen to everyone work out the kinks. But I'm sure that once we start getting involved with that, we'll be ready to go, because we will all know what we're charged with doing as educators during this new time frame in education. Lots of changes.
Dr. Roseberg, can I stop you right there?
Yes.
We dropped the sharing screen.
Uh-oh.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, so we hope that you will join us for convocation. It starts at 8:30. We'll be ending at 4:30. And if you come, we hope that you'll wear yellow for Go for the Gold. For school opening, on August 24th, we'll have our math ELA textbook training for CMS and Columbia Early College. That's a 2-hour training, I believe, for the math books training. And then on August 14th and 15th, TES will have textbook training. And on August 15th, we'll have the first day of school for Columbia Early College, aligned to the BCCC starting day. We will have a back to school bash from 5:30 to 7 o'clock p.m. But if you know of any community members that would like a table at our back to school bash, we please ask them to contact India, and she will make sure that information gets to Ms. Curls, so that we have a table available for community members. On August 19th through the 20th, we'll have Capturing Kids' Hearts, which is our social and emotional connection to our students, our protocol that we use for that. Till elementary school, the whole school is being trained, and then we have new employees that will be invited so that they too are aware of the Capturing Kids' Hearts protocols. August 22nd is open house from 3 to 7 p.m. It is floating. That's been based off of feedback that we received from families. They would like a floating open house. And then on August 26th is our first day of school for TES and CMS. But as I stated before, all staff will be back on August 13th. Are there any questions?
The back to school bash is being held at the high school, but it is for all
The whole district. Okay. The whole district. And we will be giving out backpacks and school supplies. We'll have food truck vendors out there as well, some vendors, the health department, ECU Health, and some other folks that they have invited to participate in our back to school bash. And see, Columbia Early College is going to have a floating open house as well.
What time is that?
From 5 to 7:30. It's supposed to be, say 7:30, not 7 o'clock, but it's 5:30 to 7:30. Yes, that's a typo, I apologize for that. Well, that's my update, and I hope you're ready for August 22nd in September, the first meeting in September, because we have a lot of things to approve during the month, between the months of August and September.
Are there any questions for Dr. Risborough?
Thank
Thank you, it's exciting. We have a new school year, it's all great. Okay, next is the school board handbook, and I'm gonna actually turn this over to my colleague, Robin Dunbar, to talk about developing the school board procedures.
So at our training last month, we learned that several districts have a handbook for the school board. And so that is something that I think we've not had in the past. So we have several samples in our handouts to look at. And I'd like the boards to give me their thoughts on us developing a handbook for our school board. It would be beneficial for veteran members, but I think it would be very beneficial for new members as they come on. And so I need to get some feedback from the board as to their thoughts and ideas. And
Isn't it one school district shares theirs?
yes,
And then you share it with us?
yes.
There's also some in the.
Yes, there's a couple in our handout. And one was shared at our last work session in July, at the July session. So we have 3 actual samples that we can actually look at and we're developing our own school board procedure.
And
Yes, I'd like to do that before August 21st, before the work session. I am willing to take it on, and anyone else who is willing to help. But I think it would be beneficial for us. We can kind of get some back the board feels about that. I think it would be beneficial, not only for us, but for future board members.
I think it holds us accountable.
So as a reminder, Ms. Robbins going to take on the school board handbook project. And if everyone will have feedback to Ms. Robbins by August 21st. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next items are our action items, and we have a consent agenda tonight. And under our consent agenda is the 24-25 SRO contract. I will remind you that if you have questions about the SRO contracts, they need to be removed from the consent agenda so we can discuss them. But if not, we just need a motion to approve the 24-25 SRO.
Motion to approve the SRO contract.
Ms. Robin has made a motion to approve the 24-25 SRO contracts under consent agenda. How do you vote, Mr. Sawyer?
But yes.
How do you vote, Ms. Leatherman?
Yes.
How do you vote, Mr. Cole?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you vote, Ms. Dunbar?
Yes.
And I vote yes, the 24-25 SRO contracts are approved. The next thing we have is minutes. We have 4 minutes from June 4th, June 19th, July 2nd, July 8th, and July 7th.
You can do them all in one motion, or we can do them individually.
You said it was July the.
June 4th, June 19th, July 2nd, July 8th, and July 7th.
Make a motion to approve.
Mr. Cole has made a motion to approve all, minutes. Approval of the minutes for the June and July meetings. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, how do you vote, Mr. Sawyer?
Yes.
How do you vote, Ms. Liverman? Yes. How do you vote, Mr. Cole?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you vote, Ms. Dunbar? Yes. And I vote yes. The minutes are approved for June and July. That concludes our open session items. Next, the board will go into closed session to discuss personnel. And then after personnel, we'll come back out in open session and do adjournment. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
Make a motion to go into closed session.
Ms. Liverman's made a motion to go into closed session for GS 115C, that's 319 for personnel. How do you vote, Mr. Sawyer?
Vote yes.
How do you vote, Ms. Liverman?
Yes.
How do you vote, Mr. Cole?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you vote, Ms. Dunbar?
Yes.
And I vote yes. We are now going to go into closed session. We'll have a 5 to 10 minute recess. So thank you all. You're welcome to stay till we come out of closed session.
Jennifer, we have to.